Well, it's approaching 5 o'clock, and it's been quite a day. I've been bashing, as you might be able to tell by all the tools and stuff laying about. But I do have the engines categorized and figured out. This is going to be the base. That'll be the 300 AC 1950s. And it's going to have just the the motor controller and the DC motor and headlight. It's all he had when he came here, so I'm not going to give him much more. I did find a better chassis. It needs wheels, so I clean the wheels. That's a good thing. So I can switch those out, and I won't have all this rust to deal with. Second engine will be a 303 from about 1955, but it's plastic, and it had smoke, and it had reverse and whatnot. This one I've already built a firebox for it. Oh no, this firebox is for the 300. There's already a firebox bolted in there, and it includes a drawbar, so its tender would have a drawbar. Then I have the 287, which I've had it apart and back together. It's all traditional, everything's the same, so that'll be an exercise. I want to videotape that one from start to finish so you guys can see the whole process. And then I have this old 290. It's one of the last 290s I own, and it has the chassis okay. It has the smoke, needs a rod and a piston. Didn't have a tender, but I had this tender left over from a girly train, and you know, this engine's not going anywhere, so I may as well go ahead and give it some glitz and glam there. Funny enough, he's the one that's going to be getting the all-wheel pickup. So the Glamour tender will get the Glamour pickups. That's pretty hot. So here's the chassis that I expect to be using for the, I don't know which one. I guess parts off of it would go over to the 287. Oh, that's right. I'm going to use this device for the 287. I may have to use this one on another one. Oh, this is how I finally ended up with the motor mount piece, and I was able to get Frankentrain embossed on them with my 3D printer. That's pretty hot. This is the 290 going together. You know it's the 290 because he's got hot rod axle spacers, and it's looking pretty good. Behind me you might hear and you might see a puffing and chuffing Atlantic with the flyer smoke running through a 4-wire connector up to its chassis to the tender. It's got the short connector because he's going to have a drawbar on the firebox, so that's going to be his claim to fame, I guess you could say. I don't know if you can tell that smoke, but it's pretty healthy. We're running about 50 miles an hour according to the transformer. I do have a problem with this particular board, and I'm going to have to see who built it. Because it lost forward, and I'm hoping that wasn't me, but it's possible, you know. We test them all. We've tested them all. This one may have slipped by. I don't know. Okay, so we'll get back to that. But what I wanted to go ahead and check and verify was my wiring schematic. I have this wire that I can use. I'm going to slide this down and tighten it up. This bolts up to the top, you know. And so we're going to have the conventional tether poking out. We hope I got enough wire to do that. Poking out and up. And then all of this stuff will be inside the tender as you see it. This is the buck boost, the power controller, converter, and the motor controller. And we've got puff and chuff. If you can look through the junk and see what we have here. There's flat out. As it goes faster and the heater tends to cool down, we add more voltage to it. You know how that works. You've seen me demonstrate that multiple times. So when you slow down, instead of burning it out, we cool it down so you get smoke, but you're not wearing out the device anyway. That's a good runner. Yeah, it's a good runner. For the life of me, I don't know why it has fats. But yeah, it'll be a good runner. It's got the maximum magnetic power going through it, so that's pretty cool. And it's running really nice. Okay, so this is the one that's nearest ready except for the board, and the only thing I can do is switch out the board. I've got one sitting up here. I'm hoping it's good shape. I built that one. So maybe it's in good shape. I don't know. It depends how much did I have. I do have the older ones, but I don't really want to do those yet. I mean, I could, but I'd rather use them on other projects. This is supposed to be the real thing. Now, I'm modifying my adapters and all that stuff so we can add, subtract features as we go. But this would be pretty, if you have a flyer, or I know one guy I'm working on has a 312, I think it is. This would be the kind of setup he would have. He would get this lid for his vintage smoke. He would get this power supply for the smart smoke. He would get this power supply for the motor, and then this motor controller. And this would all be in his K5 tender, which should fit easy, okay? The challenge is when we want to go to 4 smoke, 4 sounds, for the Wi-Fi, the WeMOS, and the wireless remote, all that stuff. That starts to take more stuff to get in here. And when I'm working with some of the guys, I've asked a few of them to input info on what we would do that would aesthetically be semi-accurate for the Atlantic. Well, any of them that use this plastic tender or even the metal tender, any of these engines here, we're going to have to get what I would call an extended range tender, because we just don't have the room to put that's Leon's, for example, okay? We don't have the length to put all the stuff in there that he has, and he has it all. So we're going to have to come up with something, a longer tender, okay, but we can say it's an extended range, right? The engine could go further and blah, blah, blah. But now there has to be some realistic, has to be something that looks like the real thing here. Okay, so let's see. I have this one, and this one, and this one is that one, and this one is going to be the guts for that one. And what you're hearing over here is this one. So we're in pretty good shape as far as all the major pieces. Now what I'm trying to do is put them together, come up with the wiring schematic, taking the parts and making sure they work, all the various things that we're doing. Oh yeah, we have Frankentrain Lab on our parts. And I don't know, I'm just thrilled. I really am thrilled. I think this is working out real well. I want all the smokes to be this good. And I'm pretty sure I can make that happen. I mean, we got it on the O gauge before I got it on my own. Stupid. Anyway, this is where we're at. So this is a standard tender pickups that's got 2 wheels on one side, 2 wheels on the other. And it's got the rectifiers to convert the AC to DC. Everything is running through DC, forward and reverse. We will have forward and reverse by tomorrow. And the smoke power supply, that's a buck boost board for the smart smoke. The smart smoke gives you constant smoke, low speed and high speed. It doesn't wane, wax and wane. It's constant, so you can go like really, really slow. Look at that, we're going 20 miles an hour. I don't think it'll pull anything at 20, but wouldn't that be fun? Have that out there going chuff, 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 pulling out of the yard, chuff, 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 chuff. Here comes Casey. Okay. All right, it's 5. I'm a little tired today. I think I'm gonna go upstairs and help Margaret laugh. I'm going to go upstairs and watch Margaret and talk to her. That's how I help her. It's sad. I'm a little surprised I got those big magnets in there. Oh, I put the Thin Man